Today we got two FJ40s in front of us. Just wanted to do a comparison of a V8 versus the Inline 6. But let's start with the exteriors first. And the FJ40 here in the US ran from, for this model, from 64 to 84, so 20 years, and they made about 372,000 of them. So what, that's about 19,000 a year, just less than that. And the 72, that's the green one, that they made about 20,700 in its year. And then the red one, which is a 74, production went up. They made about 23,700. So about 3,000 more of the 74 than the 72. But effectively everything the same. Well, except with these ones. These ones are a little bit modified. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. You know, if you're in the market for an FJ40, I have been for a while, and I'd go test drive some Inline 6, and I felt it was underpowered, of course, when you compare it to a 100 series or other newer Landcruisers. And V8, sometimes I felt underpowered as well. Sometimes it just has to depend with what type of transmission they have. Popular transmission in the V8s, like the green one here, is, and we'll look underneath at those headers. That's the V8 in there. We'll pop the hood here in a second. But the V8 is usually matted up with a 465 SM transmission. So that's like a 3/4 ton truck transmission, you know, with a granny gear and great 4-speed. Whereas it was used to be 3 on the tree and then 3 on the floor for the 74. It wasn't till 75, 76 that they started going to the 4-speed transmission. Okay, so both of these are springs over axle. So that means the spring right there is over the axle, not under. So that's going to give you a pretty huge lift. And in this case, those are FJ55 springs. You want them worn on purpose. And here, same thing, spring over axle. Again, giving you a lot of lift. When you do that, you need to get some stability in the steering. Now both of these, the hard tops are off, so they both have the best top. Those are just the half doors, and with full doors, just so you can see a difference of that. Full doors are about 600 bucks. That top is about 1,000 bucks, sold separate from the doors. But also, you know, when you see FJ40s, unless it's an OEM, they come like a lot of variety. Believe it or not, those are 33s on the red one, so those are pretty big. But I feel that when you do a springs over axle and SOA, it looks a little goofy. Those wheels can be bigger. So I say we change that for maybe some 35s, which I'll do here in this video. And this one has monster 40s. So you can see the difference, a 33 to a 40. That 40 is going to, well, it's 7 inches taller, which is going to give you approximately 3.5 inches of extra lift, right? You got to divide the 7-inch of the wheel in half, because that's how much lift it will add to the vehicle. And when you look at that, to me, that's very proportionate. However, the rear of this vehicle was extended a few inches, giving it a nice you know, distance from front to rear wheel for off-roading. But effectively, the tub, everything, and they say if you're getting older than 75, the metal is better. The metal is a different metal that they use for the tubs and for the body than the 76 and up. And of course, if you're 75 and older and you're in California, smog exempt. So whether you got the Inline 6 or you swap out and put a V8, because of the year, you are exempt. Now these will differ a little bit on the interiors. Very rare you see people keeping the OEM seats. So in this one you have Volvo seats in the front, and they actually fit perfect, fold down so people can get in the back. Classic dash. But this has a restored engine, and when they did it, they changed the gauges. So since restoration, this has about 3,500 miles on it. And the Tuffy box, very popular. And you know, a lot of people get rid of that big wheel, you know, unless they're nostalgic, but the smaller wheel, power steering, and upgrade on this one, and disc brakes. because they did not come disc brakes in these years. Let's check the interior of this one. Same thing, a different dash, smaller steering wheel, power steering, and this one has discs all round. One of the differences here is this one has a cage. They call it the family cage throughout, and what you can do there is that actually bolts and goes right to the frame of the car. If you look here, it goes right underneath. See that tube? Connects to the frame. So it's separate from the body. So that's important for off-roading in the event of a roll. And the seats, as you can see, are attached to the actual cage. So the seats are part of the whole cage in the frame and not part of the body. So safety there. Let's pop the hoods and close that door better and see the difference in the engines. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, you know, when you test drive one of these, remember, it's a car from the 70s. So carburetor, this one has a new carburetor on it, the 155 engine. So it's a 3.9 liter inline 6, built to last. I mean, these things, they copied GM over in Japan, and they just made it better. A lot of new components here, power steering, power brakes, but original radiator, because again, built to last. Built to last. And you know, for driving around town, you're gonna get up to what, 55, 60 miles an hour on the highway. Again, this is a beach cruiser, it's a weekender, it gets the looks everywhere you go. I'd say compared to a Ferrari or Lamborghini, you're gonna get more looks and thumbs up with one of these. It's rare. Okay, so those who are looking for V8, a couple things you want to keep in mind. If you're off-roading, you may want to get fuel injection, because if you're going major tilts, that carburetor is going to spill over with that air-gas mixture. So this is a Chevy Vortec, circa 1998, about 350 horsepower, off-road tuned. There's your power steering right there. Something you'll need to move, you know, wheels that are 33, 35, 37, or 40 inch in this case. But that's going to give you a lot of power. But again, it's not like you're going 80 miles an hour down the highway. This, getting up there in the mid 2000 RPMs, you're probably rolling about 70 miles an hour, which is probably all you want to do. You know, you could probably get up to 75. That's all you want to do when you're lifted like that. And same thing with the other. But I'd say this, if you're driving around town, down boulevards, 45, 50 mile an hour speed limits, well, you got plenty of power in each to do so. Okay, let's get those hoods closed. Okay, hoods closed. But also when you go bigger wheels, you can see these 40s, they're 13.5 inches wide. And on these 33s, and remember, 33 is a pretty big tire. Those are 12.5 inches wide. Here's the wheels we're going to put on. So these are 35s. I'd rather go 37s on this SOA suspension setup, but this is what I got, some Mickey Thompsons. Those are real deep dish. Look how deep that is. To give you an idea. My hand. So these are 14.5, so they're like swampers. These are really big tires, and I think it's going to complete the look on this. So let's try to get those on real quick before it gets too dark. But as you can tell, wheels make a difference. It makes these look beefy. The original wheels are little pizza cutters. They're so thin. But, you know, some people look for that OEM look, and I like it. It looks great. But when you lift, you got to go proportionately bigger wheels and a wider stance. So we've got almost all the wheels done. I just wanted to show how it looks right now. That's the 33, which is 12.5. And that's
massively wider.
Massively wider. Much wider back here. And it sticks out nicely. And stability wise, it's going about 2 inches out on each side, so it's giving us a total of 4 inches more stability. That compared to that. Makes a difference. It's gonna be a little bit tougher to make them roll, but we'll see. We'll give her a test drive. Okay, and with the magic of movies, there it is. Those wheels are on. So obviously this one just looks huge, 13.5. These are smaller, 35 inch, but they're 14.5 inches wide. And it just looks so nice. So raw on that FJ. And contrast is everything too, right? Had black wheels on before. Now that they're silver, they pop and it just looks right. You know, this could use 37s, it could go bigger, but then you start having an issue with the rear. If anything, the spring over axle, yes, off-road, massive clearance, and we just added another inch of height because we went from 33s to 35s. So it's 1 inch on the wheel well, filling up some space, and 1 inch height. But this truck, you know, if you lowered it, then it would just hit the sweet spot. So it's still not in the sweet spot, but I think still looks pretty damn good and a lot better than those wheels that were on before.
It looks night and day difference.
And look how that wheel is coming out nicely. Both of them. Before they were inset too much. So now, when it's lifted, I think they should always come out about 1 inch or 2, and that looks just right. (1974) FJ40, and this one 1972. We got a great video off-roading with the green one, so subscribe to the channel, check it out. There they are, 2 FJs in Christmas colors.
Beautiful.
Thanks for watching.